we'll check up on her to make sure she does. So we have Christina and Alice.
Dan, Jessie, did you already talk to Dan about executive session later?
Oh,
Yep.
so we talked about it briefly. I didn't think there was one. Did I miss that on the agenda?
Yeah, there.
Number 12.
So yeah, you'll be in charge, Jessie.
Not a problem. I've handed over hosting to Jessie now. The YouTube is up, and I've told her if it's something where you're not going to have anything to vote on or anything when you get back, she can just stop the YouTube stream for the night when you go into the executive session, and that'll be it for the night for the video part.
Okay, thank you.
And with
Thanks,
that, Jessie, you've got control, so I'm gonna head out. If anybody needs anything, Yvonne can contact me.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we will get started because we do have 2, 4, 6, a quorum. So we have obviously no public comment, no correspondence, additions to the agenda. Mary.
Yep, I'd like to add nominations and elections of officers, if we have a good spot for that.
Yes, under new business. Okay, there's Al. Are you all in favor of adding that to the agenda? You better
Yes.
be to do it in February. Thank you. Okay. Minutes of the January 27th meeting. Do we have a motion to accept those?
So
Leslie, is that you? Okay. We'll say Mary made the motion. Leslie, you must have seconded it. We have to get you in the minutes somehow. Okay, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? No, are you all in favor of approving the minutes then as submitted? Raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Abstain? None. Okay, thank you. There is no treasurer's report this month. Next month, Kathy will invite the people from Wells Fargo to come in and do an annual review. We sort of missed the annual review in 2020. So this will sort of be a 2-year wrap up on how our trust fund is doing. Okay, the director's report.
First of all, were there any questions on the report?
I have a question on the building, because at the new library committee, Debbie said there were problems with heat. Not a good time of year to have that. Is there, there's
always a problem with the heat in the building, and the problem is that the building is all on one zone. So all 9,000 square feet or 9,500, depending on which measurement you look at, all being on one zone, and the system is old, so it's not efficient. And what happens is the offices, the back offices, are sort of at the end of the line for the heat. So at about 2:30 every afternoon, all through the winter, the heat sort of cuts out, and we have little space heaters and blankets and things that we, try and stay a little warm. And then it kind of comes back around 4 o'clock, and we've had it checked about 20 times. And all they say is that it's just an old system and an old building, and that's just the way it works. So yeah, it's problematic, but there's a lot of problematic things about that building. So
that's, yeah, we know that. But so does the furnace go off for a
It-
particular reason?
The furnace doesn't go off. The rest of the building continues to have heat. There's something about us being sort of at the end of the line, at least that's how it was explained to me. And at a certain time of the day, the equipment just can't keep up, and it gets cold.
Hey, Ron, where's the thermostat that's running the whole thing?
The one thermostat that runs the entire building is by the front door.
Good place for it.
Well, the
So-
only reason I asked that because that's outside of your office complex. It gets cold. Why don't you call our wonderful maintenance and engineering people and ask them what would be involved to put electric heat units all throughout that back corner on a different thermostat.
I actually haven't requested that, but I have called them seriously 10 or 20 times over the past 4 years. And they're aware of the issue. It's nothing that they can fix with the current system, but I hadn't thought of adding additional electric heating units. I can certainly ask.
Well, I think it would be worthwhile pursuing. I don't like the idea that you're sitting around with blankets on and so forth back there. You ought to have
Well,
a livable.
when we did ask for a remedy, the solution that was proposed was for us to get little space heaters, which is what we've done. So,
Hurrah.
All right.
Be interested to know what the temperature gets down to. I bought these little for our house because we have many rooms that don't have any kind of thermostats. They're these old just dials, no digital, it doesn't tell you what the temperature is. So I bought these little tiny digital ones just out of curiosity. In my office that I'm sitting in right now, I think it's 64. I never knew what the temperature was. I just always knew it was cold in here. I like it warm. And so I would be curious to find out what the temperature is in the office during that period of time.
we haven't checked it, but we can see if there's a way to do that.
So are there opposite problems in the summer with the air conditioning? I mean,
There are actually opposite problems in the summer. In the air conditioning unit is the way that my desk is, the air conditioning unit, and I've moved the desk around, and there's not a lot of spaces to move it in there, but the air conditioning unit, we very often have to put blankets over it so that, because it just blasts us and the rest of the building doesn't get as cool, but we get blasted with the air conditioning and we have to cover it. So it's an old building. It's just an old building. It's not that it's been ignored. We've had it checked every time and they tell us there's nothing that can be done. So.
well, of course, there's something that can be done. The problem is they won't do it. That's Alice.
Yeah, Yvonne, I was pleased to see that you're working on reopening the library. Talking to Steve in March, how does that look? What are the possibilities and how come we are all?
We've sort of been working on that since the day we closed down in November. But it's all, right now, the numbers are all going in the right direction, Alice. So
Are other libraries in the area now open?
other libraries in the area are opening up. A lot of them have restrictions, but they are opening slowly, and we are keeping track. The state monitors that. We don't have to, but voluntarily we submit a report to the state, and whenever we make a change, whether we're shutting down, opening, restricting, and they publish those results every week, so I can see what all the libraries in the area are doing.
Okay.
I was just in Ridgefield for an appointment, and their library is open. And I know that they have something like an hour in the middle of the day where they do a cleaning. But I also noticed that Newtown has hours open in Southbury. So maybe they have ways that they've been able to safely reopen. The other thing that I was going to mention, because I noticed about the opening also. the schools are not showing any transmission in school. So they probably have some good systems in place as well. And they might be able to share some insight.
Yeah, the library is aligned with town hall as a town department. And so they are very cautious about trying to make sure that we keep all the numbers down as we have been in terms of how many people are getting sick. And they're just being overly cautious. And, the reason we closed, keep in mind, in November is because our whole staff, we had 5 or 6 people out in 1 week. So that's why we ended up closing, because our staff was compromised, not because they themselves were sick, but because they had household members who were sick. So, or they had an exposure, it was just constant for several weeks in a row, until the point where we just didn't have enough people to run the building. And then and that was in the middle of November. Then all the spikes happened from Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so the thinking was, let's keep everything shut down, because now it doesn't make any sense to open in the middle of a spike. And then we had to wait until the end of January for all of that to settle down. And so here we are thinking about trying to reopen again. So that's been the pattern and how it has happened. And there's really, our health department, from what I understand, talking to other library directors, our health department is very involved. They are very plugged into everything that's happening. They have taken the lead role in our town. And that is really not the case with every other library or every other town around us, from what I understand. And it's their guidance that the town is following. So it's been a sort of a philosophy of, let's just, keep holding steady, stay as cautious as we can be, and then safely open as soon as we can. So I think it's been fine. The staff has been, we've been on staggered hours, some people working from home as they can. I've been in every day. And of course, our circ staff, really needs to be there every day. But, the staff is not happy to be working in close quarters either. And so when we're open and everyone's there's not a lot of space for us to spread out. So that's another issue, just the way the building is set up. In fact, we spent a lot of time today with the circ staff trying to figure out, in preparation for opening, how are we going to get enough circ people behind the desk and keep them safe apart from each other? It's going to be difficult. It's a small space. So we were actually measuring out today, could we move the desk in a different direction? Can we try and get more square footage behind the desk so that they can spread out? Right now, we've got circ people working on the other side of the desk because the building's not open. But once it opens, they've all got to go behind the desk again, and that puts them in close proximity to each other. So, other libraries don't necessarily have that issue. They have workspaces. We have shared desks. We have people that share computers. We have, we just don't have enough space to have the staff spread out. So it's really been for a number of reasons. And I think that, we're all doing the best we can, and we are managing to provide quite a bit of service, even though we're closed. So I think that it's best to be safe. And, I think we're getting to the point where we can do that now. So I think hopefully mid-March, we'll be able to open, and it'll probably be reduced hours, but we'll at least have some hours that are open. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, we assume it would have to be reduced hours, but where I think hopefully the staff is as anxious to get the library opened as we are. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Anything else on the director's report?
Really wanted to highlight that I'm sure you all saw the Adult Services Department is really developing, and our new head of Adult Services, Rachel Leff, is doing a phenomenal job with programs that are really well received and really very responsive to what the community needs. So I just wanted to mention that. I think she's doing a wonderful job. I mean, everyone's doing a great job, but she's new to us and she has really risen to the challenge. I also wanted to point out that something that I think is a really great opportunity for our teen librarian is she has made enough contacts with the teachers at Wisconsin Middle School that she's able to do virtual classroom visits now with the 6th and 8th grade classes to talk about how to use their library card. And that is a great form of outreach for us during COVID. I mean, we used to go into the schools and visit the classrooms and do this. So it's great that we're able to do this in virtual classes. And Ruthie Quattro is leaving tomorrow. She has been with the library since she was a volunteer for the summer reading program when she was about 11 years old. And she eventually got a job as a shelver and then as a circulation assistant. And she, has been with us since right through college. And now that she has graduated college, we knew that she was going to be moving on, but she was able to take that library assistant position a couple of months ago. And she has done a really great job. And I don't know if you noticed, but our Instagram followers are just about at 1,000. And when she started, they were around 600. And that was only, she's been doing a phenomenal job with that. And so she's moving on to a fellowship in grad school, and she'll be moving to Massachusetts. So wanted to just mention that. And that's it for the director's report.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we will move on to old business and committee reports. The new library. We woke Christina up.
Yeah, I'm here. So we had the new library committee kind of feels like we're waiting. We're in this waiting period right now, out of necessity, really. I mean, the timeline that I had presented, was it January's? I think it was January's meeting, last meeting. I also shared that with the new library committee, and it's sort of a funny holding pattern right now for the new library committee because there isn't a lot for them to do while we wait to find out if the capital item goes through for $30,000 that is to explore the possibilities of Center School. We discussed the timeline for a long time. And basically there's, we're working with a timeline right now that is what we've been handed by the town, by the Board of Selectmen, saying that in the 10-year capital plan, the new library looks like it could be financed in 2028. And so we're waiting to hear on the $30,000 budget line, the capital item. And we'll meet again next month, and our next meeting is March 18th for anyone who's interested at 5 p.m. And that's it. Not a whole lengthy timeline right now, or lengthy report right now.
Okay, any questions, comments?
I have one. Christina, with that 2028 date, if you backed away from it, came back to where we are, is there some feel for, 3 years before, 4 years before, you really get fired up and go after it, or, you know, this period that you're in right now has got to be something that is, I would think almost upsetting for the people that are putting a lot of time into trying to make something happen. I mean, am I making sense? I'm just
Yeah,
trying to get
no,
an idea.
absolutely. Everyone, you know, it's going from, it's sort of the reality of things is that we have this 2028 date, John, and that's because that's where we lie in the capital budget.
Yeah, right.
But Steve Dunn has been saying for months now that he is willing to relook at that in the summer of 2022 when the final numbers are known from the school side. They need to know what those final numbers are before they can tell us that they could potentially move us up, right? So the hope is that we can move up, and that's everyone's hope. But what we are looking at, and that timeline that I shared in the January meeting was based on that 2028 date. So the 30,000 is in this budget year, and then the next budget year we have $125,000 in there. And that's for hiring an architect to draw up conceptual plans, right? So we have a timeline that we're working towards, and we're hoping that it'll go from this to this, but we don't know what that this is yet. And to be responsible and to keep everyone's expectations so that we need to all be on the same page. And that's basically what we're doing with that 2028. We're hopeful it's going to be less time, but that's what we've been told right now. And they're not willing. The first selectman has told us he is not willing, and that his reasoning behind that for waiting for the schools number is really to be fiscally responsible. It would be very irresponsible for him not to tell us where we look like we sit in the 10-year capital plan right now.
Well, I see something very positive there. He's obviously lining up to look at moving things forward in terms of what can be accomplished, and the logic that he's got pertaining to really knowing what we're doing with the center school makes sense to me. But I like the fact that the conversation, Christina, is oriented to trying to figure out how to move things forward.
Yeah, and I have to tell you that the budget discussion last night with the Board of Selectmen, all three had expressed an interest in the new library.
Terrific.
Yeah, it was very positive, very positive. So while maybe they're not moving dates right now and they're holding to, we have to wait to see what the school's numbers are. There's a lot of positive energy right now around the new library.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, part of my concern, and you picked up on it, you got a lot of very good people that put a lot of time into bringing all this together, and it's terrible to be in a lull mode where you're trying to figure out, well, okay, when do we really turn it on? But thank you for the feedback, Christina.
And that's all I have. Were there any other questions?
Okay, thank you. Mary, the strategic plan.
Okay, so the big news is that we secured a volunteer to moderate what are essentially focus groups of community leaders to discuss wants and needs in Brookfield. Again, not specifically for library, but general, but what are wants and needs in Brookfield. And then, we'll gather that information, take it in and see what, the library can do for people. And so that'll be great. With better COVID numbers and vaccinations expanding rapidly, we hope to be able to hold the 2 meetings in late April and May, possibly in person. That would be pretty great. So we'll see. Other than that, we meet again next Thursday, the 4th at 1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. How wonderful. So are you at liberty to tell us who the volunteer is?
Well, Christina was our magician in this great get. So if you want to share it, it's up to you, Christina.
Yeah, sure. Wendy Youngblood has agreed to moderate the discussion, which
Wow.
she's really excited about it. She's
Good.
yeah.
Great lady.
Wendy is, for those of you who don't remember, Wendy was actually on the library board when John and I joined, I think. Yeah, she was still on.
Yeah, that same period.
Right. So she's been she and Chris and the kids have been great supporters, and so very good. Thank you. We look forward to working with her.
Absolutely.
Okay, the Center School Use Ad Hoc Committee is not doing anything at the moment by design. As a matter of fact, we may have exceeded the amount of time we were appointed. Would have to be reappointed. The other committee we have is the bylaws review.
And, I have a document. Can you give me a screen share?
Cecily, can
She just stepped away.
yeah.
I was gonna send it, but I didn't know if we had to revise the agenda, so I thought it was just easier to do a screen share.
Yes, Cecily, can you let Leslie share screen?
Yes.
You being one of the 3 people in here who might know how to do this. Does not include me.
Hold on a second, because I think my mouse is dying.
Oh, no.
Okay, see if it comes up for you now, Leslie.
Yes, I see it.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
no problem.
Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. All right, so Casey and I got together and talked this over. I have to share 2 things. First, I think we were a little confused because we thought we were only to be reviewing 1 item. And it turned out there were several items that we were supposed to be reviewing. We weren't aware as of the meeting. And then the second item was that the bylaws that we have in our binder are not the most current bylaws. The most current bylaws are on the library website, so everybody should probably check their binders to make sure they have the current ones. Well, and I guess after we update this, maybe we'll have more current ones. So the last time they were updated was in 2018, and the version that Casey and I have is from 2011. So just FYI. So can you read it, or do you want me to read each one? I don't know how you want me to do this.
No, I just want to know what it is you're doing.
Yep.
Broadly.
Okay. So we were tasked with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 items to review. Article 2, Section 2, we decided that this was fine and it didn't need any changes. That was regarding membership. Article 4 was officers and elections, which is Section 6 and 8. For Section 6, we decided that no changes were recommended. We thought this was fine. Section 8 was regarding the wording. There was a change interested in the wording, and also an interest in how long. So as you can see here, it reads currently as the library director shall have custody of the minutes and other records of the library board. And since oh my gosh, the town clerk, I'm sorry, I just blanked. I could not think of, I could think of her name, but I couldn't think of her title. The town clerk keeps the records, you know, that's her job. So we just updated to say that the library director shall retain a copy. That was the change in the verbiage from custody to retain a copy. And then we just tacked on for a period of 1 year because we thought, you know, no sense in keeping them forever since the town clerk does keep those records for the town. The next one that was requested to review was Article 5, which is meetings, and that is Section 6. This is in regard to what we kind of ran into with our executive session at the last meeting. So we just cleaned this up a little bit. It says at the end here about when we return and what the meeting minutes will say. It currently reads that the official minutes will show only the results of motions made and approved during such sessions. And we cleaned that up just to say that will show only that the board was in executive session. Okay, and then the next one is Article 7, which is committees, which is the one that this is the one we thought, this is what we thought we were supposed to be working on, not all these other things. So, and as I had said during our meeting, we decided to look at the Board of Ed bylaws to see what they had and if we could borrow from them. And I actually found a line that I thought we agreed would work. Casey and I agreed. So how it currently reads is that the chairman may appoint special committees of one or more members for such specific purposes as the business of the board may require from time to time. And so what we'd like to do is tuck in another line there, which says that it shall be the duty of the chairperson of the subcommittees to appoint members of the subcommittees, except when the board itself may decide otherwise. We felt that it would be too onerous for the committee to constantly have to approve new members because these things do change often. People are busy, they resign, etc. And we feel that since the chair of the library board has faith in the person that they appoint to be the chair of the subcommittee, therefore we feel that they would do a good job in picking those members, and however they determine them, if they want to take a poll or, you know, ask their friends or to suggest, however they want to find people is up to them, but it would be their duty to appoint them unless we say otherwise.
Right.
That is it. Any questions?
Okay. Well, I have a couple. I'm reading this. I know we did ask you to look at this one because this one on committees was clearly a little deficient. Do you think we should add in something that says that only the chairperson of the committee has to be a board member? Other members can be non-board members,
Non-voting attendees.
No, they could.
It could be anybody. It could be a community member.
A board meeting, but the new library committee has a number of people who are not board members who are members of that committee. And maybe we should recognize that you don't have to be, except for the chairperson, you don't have to be a board member to be.
Do you need to have that wording, or can you just live with the chair must be a board member?
Well, you can think about, I'm willing to think about that. If, you know, depends on what other people think. We do need to have some anchor to the board, and the chairperson ought to be it, I think. But actually, we'll let you think about that and go back.
Okay.
And come back.
Okay, that's fine. We can do that.
Yep.
I have one other in the top, the first thing that you, this is membership. A vacancy created by the library board member shall be filled by appointment by the Board of Selectmen, following written notification of such vacancy by the secretary of the board or by the library director. That's incorrect. If the Board of Selectmen will only accept a resignation directed and recognized by the town clerk.
Right. But I don't think that's what this says. So I think what I don't read it that way. I read it like I know that people have to resign that way. So I guess maybe we need to put something in there that says that, to clarify that, so that people understand that. But I didn't read it that we're
Okay.
not following that procedure. I didn't read it that way.
Okay. So we'll ask you to think about that. And even if you put it in here, people are still going to resign to the board, and we have to go back and tell them to resign to the town clerk.
I am aware
Yeah.
of, yes,
Yeah.
I'm aware of other boards where someone has not resigned for a year and they can't replace the person because they've never formally resigned to the town clerk. It happens all the time.
I have gone to the point of having coffee with and handing a letter of resignation to somebody and say, please sign this. It worked.
I still haven't resigned.
That's a good thing, Christina.
Well, usually they resign in their mind and they just stop showing up. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And it it does cause a problem for, yes, I'm sure not just us, but for any other board that has this kind of problem. And I'm sure most boards at one time have had it. But thank you for looking at those, and we'll look forward to seeing.
Betsy,
Yes.
there's one, can you go, Leslie, could you go to the executive session one? I
Yes,
think it's Article 5.
yes.
You asked, wait, okay, stop.
Did I scroll past it? I
Yeah,
did, sorry.
all right.
Okay, yep.
Okay, stop. At the very last sentence, that you're going to just say to show that the board was in executive session. By law, you have to give a reason, but it doesn't have to be specific to an event. So you have to say the board was in executive session to discuss personnel or land purchase or
Okay.
contract. Just a description. It's because this is a public meeting and you're excluding the public, so.
Okay, so
Okay.
do you have a suggested wording? Because I don't know how to say
Okay, just the board was in
And the reason
executive
for
session.
for board
Uh,
business or,
No, to discuss, and then you can just put to discuss personnel, or that the board has to specify the reason, and in parentheses, put personnel, contract, land purchase, and parentheses.
that's my dilemma. How many
Okay, so
different
it just
reasons?
has to say, the minutes will show only that the board was in executive session and the reason for the executive session.
There you go.
Yes,
That,
Yeah,
yes.
there you go.
and the
Okay.
general reason, yeah,
okay,
perfect,
okay,
thanks.
got it.
I was being specific. I'm like, how many different reasons do we go
Oh,
into
do we have to
executive
list all of
session?
them?
Do you want me to list them all?
There are probably about 11 of them.
Right?
They're all detailed in FOI.
I
Yeah.
thought there was only 4 general classes of what you could do.
No, oh no. Look up FOI sometime.
I do regularly. Okay, anybody else with comments, suggestions?
Oh, good. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. We are not going to discuss policies tonight. One day, hopefully next month, I will actually get at least one of them written. Finances, the budget. Last night, we had the budget presented to the Board of Selectmen, who get, well, generally the first selectman actually has already made some adjustments to the whole town budget. Last night was to talk to the Board of Selectmen, and we thank any of you who were able to be there, and hopefully you were. I was impressed by how much support we got. I think more so than we have gotten from any other full Board of Selectmen, and so we appreciate it. So I think we made headway with the operating budget, and with the capital budget, although it remains to be seen. The one thing that they did take out of the capital budget was our request for a whole building generator, which is too bad. So they left in the windows and doors, which is actually part of the, the Public Works, because it's the building. They actually, I think did Steve, at any rate, the $30,000 to hire an architect to look at the center school building and make some recommendations on its possible reuse as the first step in moving forward. There was in fact acknowledgement that nobody said we can have center school. So it's one of the reasons we sort of pushed and said, well, then the town ought to put this in the budget. We should not be privately funding something that is not ours. So hopefully we will get that as the first step in working towards a new library and keeping us on the timeline. So I was very pleased with that. I think that what we proposed for an operating budget is lean, but on the other hand, nobody said you didn't budget for a 0% increase on the non-salary part, because we didn't. And I'm very pleased that it's still standing there. So I am hoping that things will go well. We are next on the schedule for next Wednesday to go to the Board of Finance, and essentially the same thing will happen. This is the 3rd of March, which is next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It's the Board of Finance budget workshop, which covers income and revenue, capital and debt, finance and IT, and the library. So we have always, I think, made a good showing at the Board of Finance, and I think it continues to impress both the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance that library board members actually come to watch and occasionally to make comment, answer questions. So I would appreciate all of you and any of you who is possible. It will be Zoom once again, and hopefully I don't know how we manage to get, whether we have to be invited to that or they will just publish a Zoom record. And generally they will, these meetings are held, as I think the Board of Selectmen. If you think that you might want to actually participate and comment during public session or any other time, you use the Zoom link. All of these things are on YouTube, and you can just watch if you prefer, but you still show up. And so people will notice. So I would hope that any of you who can come and support and listen to it helps to know how the Board of Finance reacts to everybody, not just the library. So we will hope we'll make it through that. And there is a budget calendar, which goes only through the end of March, but it's potential date for a special town meeting on the capital budget and for the the capital budget. I think we are hoping this year that we will no longer be under these executive orders where the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance get to approve the operating budget as we did last year. I know these people don't want to do that once again. And the theory is we had a presidential election and things worked out fine. Why can't we have a referendum on our budget? So we'll see what happens, well, and how it goes. So it's nice to be getting to the point where we might actually have some money and more money. All right. Anything else on the budgets? Okay. New business. We decided to add election of officers. Mary Capiello is in charge of this.
Yep, so it's that time of year again, where the chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary positions all, come up for staying the same, changes, whatever. I did speak to everybody currently in positions, and they're fine continuing again. If anybody wants to step forward, try something new, that's okay too. If anybody wants to nominate anyone different, I don't know how we actually kind of approach this.
You can ask for nominations from the floor.
Okay. Does anybody have any nominations? Christina.
Christina,
Sorry, yeah, I was trying to take myself off mute. I just want to say that my sign is still up for Betsy for president. So Betsy for chair right here. And if I must say a few words, a lot of it is because I know that I've learned a lot being on a board where Betsy's chair. She has a great way of explaining things as we go along, and always making sure everyone understands the reason for things. So that's my reasoning.
okay, so
Need a motion? Can we move this
Yeah.
along?
Or do we want to make motions for all four at one time at the end, or do each one separately?
Oh, just the slate. Motion to approve the full slate.
Do we technically have the full slate yet?
Whatever's on your paper is the slate.
You want to just roll everybody over from last year?
yep,
All right, so that would be Betsy McIlvaine, Chair, John Voris, Vice Chair, Kathy Lasser, Treasurer, Mary Capiello, Secretary.
So moved.
Okay,
okay, is there a second? Yes,
all right.
okay, all in,
You got a second? Who moved
Jesseley,
and who seconded?
Jesseley,
Leslie,
But who moved?
Leslie.
Oh, Leslie. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
all right, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We are all happy to serve. We are down to announcements. So what, I said the Board of Finance Wednesday night, please. Yvonne, can you figure out whether or not we need to register as we did for the Board of Finance meeting as we did for the Board of Selectmen meeting for some reason?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, thank you. So please let Yvonne know that you can, that you want to participate as part of the Zoom meeting. And we'll see the Board of Finance.
The only other announcement is, I don't know if any of you saw the flyer that I sent around for the new Connecticut State Librarian is hosting a town hall, and Region 4, which is our region, has a time slot of 2 to 4 p.m. on March 23rd. So if you are interested, you do have to register, and it's free for you to register, and just register as a guest, and you won't need our membership number or anything like that. You can just register as a guest if you're interested, but it is a good opportunity to either hear what her focus will be, what her priorities will be, and also to provide feedback.
Good. Yeah, I look forward to that. It's nice to have a permanent replacement now for Ken Wigan. The only other thing, it's not necessarily board business, but once again, my guess is you all got some weird email from me asking you to buy gift cards. I'm assuming it's only going to library board members because nobody else has ever told me anything other than you guys, and I apologize for it. I don't know what to do about it. As long as you all recognize this kind of illiterate crap that goes out as something you should either send me a joking response to or buy me a lot of no, do not buy gift cards. You all know better than that. So if I could figure out how, and I don't know what the source is, whether it's the library board's website list which may be because John Pitt was on one of them. Or maybe the town hall, but so I will keep trying to figure it out and apologize. Or something I don't do, but you get enough mail without more things from me.
That's-
Okay,
It's okay. It makes me laugh when I receive them. I'm like, yes. It makes me laugh when I respond back and go, how much do you need? Why should you send this?
good.
So Betsy, we shouldn't have bought the gift cards? Is that what you're saying?
Unless you're willing to give them to me. All right. Okay, we have no public comment. I would like to entertain a motion from Ellis to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
Okay, that's my motion. I make that motion.
Yes. Is there Mary seconded? Okay. This will just be the board, so we need Jesselie to reorganize us.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.
You're on mute, Jesselie.
deliberately, right?
Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah.
So-
Will we be coming back from executive session to the live streaming? We will be.
There will
Yes.
not be happening, so I would just turn the live stream.
No, you have to come back. No, you have to come back and then immediately adjourn.
On the live streaming?
Yep.
But
You
how
have
do we,
to, you have to adjourn in public.
okay,
Sorry.
but so if we are in a separate room though, the live streaming shouldn't show us, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, then I'm fine with that.
Okay.
This is hopefully be very brief.
Hold on,
and-
let me get us into that.
Oh, okay,
We're not in the breakout room yet.
Not yet.
okay.
Sorry, hold on one sec.
Ooh, join.
Yes.
Yes, I'm joining.